N'oubliez pas de valider votre titre de transport à chaque montée.
Prochain arrêt. Square Beauvais. Camping du Sourire.
I think it's too sweet.
For Messier Hero, you can go for a parfum that is more concentrated, shower gel, corporal cream, or home diffuser. In the sun contact for 1 month, 3-4 weeks. Not to worry, not to apply it, just to.
Il n'y avait pas la façade avant, c'était quoi? C'était humide.
Ok, merci beaucoup.
그러니까 그때 연이가
Saturday by the sea, got somewhere we need to be, we just stay here. Like the feel of something new, showing up out of the blue, never been so clear. Psychedelic, maybe it's magic, maybe we're just high. Ooh, that sugar sweet, you got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion, just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat, tested by the potion, loving this devotion.
Mais c'est pourtant les mêmes.
elles sont quand même du monde.
Le dernier,
Dans le cuir. 魚も入ってる。